Now we have different forms of equations. We have what we call the linear equations. The linear equations are of this format: y is equal to mx plus c. Now y is equal to mx plus c qualifies to be a linear equation, and if you see the power of x is to power 1, now that one qualifies it to be linear or something in a straight something. Now from the linear we go to the next one, which we call the one which is quadratic. Quadratic comes from the power of x. Now the power of x is increasing from 1 and it is now going to squared. Now here we can solve them with the simultaneous solving. You can either use the substitution, the matrix, and any other form to solve the equations of this form. Now to solve the equations of this form, now you can opt for two main ways, which we call, you can use the getting of factors, and you can use the completing squares, one of the two. The bulldozer originates from completing squares. That's why we don't talk about it as a major thing. Now for this one and the higher powers, this one is cubic, this one is to power 4. Now these ones are solved in the same way, even if it is ax power 5 and going on. It is the same way of solving from here going downwards. Now here this one has two specific ways. Now this one is the one which you covered in O level, and the other thing you are dealing more purposely with this one. Now let's talk about mainly how we can use this one, then we can see how we can apply the knowledge obtained from here to solve the values in this case. For example, we can have something like let me use direct numbers, where I can say that if I'm having x squared plus 2x plus 4 is equal to 0, then I say solve an equation of this kind. Now if you had solved the equation of this kind, remember we have what we call the sum and we have what we call the product. Now if we first deal with the sum, if you still recall the general formula of quadratic, which is x squared minus the sum of x then plus the product, here we can say this is equal to 0. Now it means the sum is the number which is at x and the product is the number which is independent of what? Independent of x. Now it means the sum is a 2, then the product at this point is a 4. Now if you want to get the factors in this equation, we go to factors of the product. Now factors of the product, this one we call for the product factors of 4, which will be a 1 and 2. If you multiply 1 and 4, you go to a 4, then you can also use 2 and 2. Now at this case we look for numbers which we can multiply to get a 4, but on addition we get what? A 2. If you observe that number is not there, meaning this one cannot be solved using what? Factors. That is the way we go on showing whether we can solve that number using factors. We choose two numbers, don't say 1 and 2, because if you add 1 and 2 you get a 3. If you multiply 1 and 2 you get a 2. Now it means it doesn't satisfy the product. Now you see this one cannot work, this one cannot be solved by factorization. Now you opt for completing squares. We shall see how we can solve this one using the completing square form. Now we can go to the next one, which is this one.